protect any of the commandments. None of them. The sixth and ninth commandment, well, you do according to your conscience. You live as the way you want, according to your conscience. So there's no impurity anymore. They call these victimless crimes. Victimless crimes. But they're not victimless because you're killing your soul, and you're killing the soul of another person perhaps. And thievery. Thou shalt not steal. Even then they say, well, the victim has dignity, the perpetrator of the crime has dignity. The criminal has dignity, the one who stole, and so too bad about the victim, too bad about the one he stole from. We got to protect the dignity of the perpetrator, the criminal, and so we don't want to punish him, we don't want to condemn him, because we want to try and dialogue with him to rehabilitate him and make him see by dialogue rather than by punishment that thievery is no good. And also they have the idea, the socialist communist idea, John Paul II was a communist, and the communist idea that it's okay to steal from the rich. Okay, we take and we give to others. We redistribute the wealth. We redistribute the wealth and we steal from the rich. That's okay then. The eighth commandment, thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. Well, that's a sin against teachers of the truth. If you speak against, and it's not a sin if you speak against teachers of the truth. But if somebody says there's only one God and you must believe in Him, and you say, well, wait a minute now, that's just nonsense, and he's not right, he's wrong, and that's an error, and he's saying lies and all this, that's okay. But if you say, oh, there's many gods, well, then we can't detract against him, we can't speak against that man, because he's got the liberal right spirit. And so the ones who say the truth, we despise them as having false opinions, and the ones who speak errors and lies, well, we hold them up to be honored. Like all the modernists that were condemned before the council. Eve Congar, Father Murray, these ones, well, they were all held up in honor after the council, and they're all still telling the same lies. But before, by the Catholic Church, they were condemned. By the Conciliar Church, they're honored. They're somebody to honor. The 10th commandment, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's goods. Well, you're doing no evil, really. You haven't stolen it, so you're just coveting. So no harm, no fall. So it's not really a sin either. So they got rid of all the sins. And all this is against charity, because sinners go to hell. The Lord came into the world for sinners, not to tell them to be good in your sin, not to tell them you're okay, but to tell them they had to convert, and to convert from their sin and go back. And so it's a great fruit of the Vatican Council is hatred. We hate people because we're going to condemn them to hell, because we're not going to tell them that they're sinners and have to convert. And that's condemning them to hell. And then there's collegiality, which is democracy, which undermines authority. So there's no authority in the church and no unity. The Pope is the principle of unity in the church. And to be a member of the church, you have to be united with the Pope. That's in the Catechism. That's you have to have one faith, one Lord, one baptism, all under the same head. And so because now there's no one faith that's finished. One faith that's finished, so we don't have unity because we have democracy. And that goes against, our Lord chose 12 apostles. 12. He says, you are the 12, and He chose one to be the head. He says, you're the head, Peter, you're the rock upon which I'm going to build my church. And the successors of Peter are the head of the church. But with the collegiality comes from the word for college, which means a group of people. A college is a collection of people. With a purpose, of some purpose. And then we have councils now. So you have the parish council. Instead of the priest running the parish council runs the parish. democracy in the parish. And it was just recently in Tasmania that the parish council demanded that the bishop remove a priest. This priest was causing great scandals in the parish. He used to wear a cassock in the church. It was a scandal. He used to sometimes say the rosary. It was a cancel. So they asked the bishop to remove this priest. They demanded that the bishop remove this priest, and so he had to remove him. And so he did remove him, because the priest wasn't going to be in charge of the parish. The council's in charge of the parish. Then you have the diocesan councils telling the bishop what to do. And then you have the bishops' councils telling the bishop what to do. And it was the bishops' council in Brazil that threw out Bishop de Castro Meyer. He stopped going to the council meetings. He went once to the council meeting of bishops. He says, I'm not going back to that anymore. But eventually, they threw him out. They kicked him out of his diocese. It was the bishops' council that did that, because he was not following the pattern of the new church. And that's why he had to start another, like a parallel diocese within the diocese. But that's what they did. They threw him out. And so all these councils are running the church in collegiality. So these are just some of the bad fruits of Vatican II. But there's many others. And what's the Russian word for council? Soviet. So these are Soviets. Parish Soviet. We have the Parish Soviet, the Diocesan Soviet, the Bishop Soviet. We have all these Soviets in the church because the church is becoming communist. So we have to have a bunch of Soviets in there. Yes, that's some of the bad fruits of the council. The Archbishop of Lefebvre started the Society of St. Pius X, and it brought forth many good fruits. Many good fruits, many vocations, many subordinate religious orders of different people, many third orders of people, lay people, people trying to become holy, people giving up their televisions, people saying the rosary, people teaching their children catechism, people getting married and having large families, and many vocations. These were some of the fruits for 20 years of the Society of St. Pius X. And then when the Archbishop died, they started to change that. And it stopped becoming, so it was a very good tree. It was a very good tree, but now they're trying to graft that fruitful tree onto this evil tree. That's what they're doing. They're saying, we got to get grafted onto this evil tree. We're detached. We have a good fruitful tree here, but it's detached from the conciliar evil tree. And we want to be part of the conciliar evil tree because that's where the Pope is. And the Pope is with his conciliar tree, so we're trying to graft this society on there. And they're making all these deals. Father Renee says there's no deals. There are many deals. One is a deal he got with jurisdiction. He accepted, the Pope offered him jurisdiction, and he accepted jurisdiction. That's a deal. When you make an offer and you accept the offer, somebody offers and you accept an offer, then you have a deal. That is precisely a deal. So the society has a deal with the conciliar church on jurisdiction for confession. And Father Wegner has said he's made deals with 40 bishops in the United States, with 40 conciliar bishops for marriages. So he's made 40 deals. So there's 40 deals there for marriages. So the marriages are under the conciliar bishops who don't have a right idea of marriage. And would be more than willing to grant an annulment. If somebody that got married now wanted an annulment, they said, well, we want an annulment. Well, we always give annulments. They would say, sure, you can get an annulment. And so your marriage is no longer stable. Marriages in the society, and Father Wagner's United States district are no longer stable. So they made deals on marriage. They made deals on ordinations. They made other deals. They made many little deals. They haven't made one big comprehensive deal, but they're making many ties, tying this good tree to this evil tree. And the evil tree will poison the good tree. The good tree will not make the evil tree that's poisonous. That's not the way poison works. When you go with somebody that's got poison, well, you get poisoned. If somebody comes down with the flu, and they bring the flu from a foreign land, and then they give it to you, then you get the flu, you get poisoned. You don't give them your health. They don't come to a healthy person and all of a sudden get healthy. No, your health doesn't go to them. Their disease goes to you. That's how diseases are passed. That's how evil fruits go into the good tree. The evil poison goes into the good tree, and then it can only bring forth poisonous fruits as well. It cannot bring forth good fruit. Whereas Bishop Fillet thinks we're going to take a good branch, graft it onto an evil tree, and then the tree is going to become good. That's not going to happen. The tree is still rooted in evil. It's rooted in evil, and it's going to make that good branch evil and make it bring forth evil fruit. And we see this is happening in the society now. They are becoming modernists. And the seminarians coming out of the seminary are modernists. And there's little things and great things. Like Father Griego taught the seminarians for the Corpus Christi procession that you don't incense the Blessed Sacrament. I don't know what they do here at St. Anthony's, but if they came from Father Griego's seminary, they would have learned you don't swing incense at the Blessed Sacrament during a procession of the Blessed Sacrament on Corpus Christi. That's what they learned. And that's what they did in the seminary. And that's what he taught them. So they're going to go out and teach that in other places. No, we don't incense the Blessed Sacrament. In the whole history of the Church, when was the first procession of the Blessed Sacrament where they didn't incense the Blessed Sacrament?
The Holy Thursday?
No. Good Friday. Good Friday. The deacon goes and gets the Blessed Sacrament and brings it in from the altar. And that was the new rite, Holy Week, Good Friday. They put it. There was never a procession of the Blessed Sacrament on Good Friday, but the modernists made one in the new church, so we have a new one. We have one, and they don't incense the Blessed Sacrament but now Father Griego taught them at Holy Cross Seminary, Australia, don't incense the Blessed Sacrament during the Corpus Christi procession. And the incense has always been offered to God. That's one of the gifts the kings gave to our Lord when he was a baby. It was incense to show that they believed he was God. That's why they gave him incense. They didn't swing incense at him, but because he was just a baby. But they did give him incense. So that's just another little thing. Another little thing they do, and this is Bishop Fillet started this. When I was back in the 80s, when the society was Catholic, we had a priest meeting, and one of the conferences at the priest meeting was given by Father James Doran on the ciborium veil. You need a veil for the ciborium. And he explained there's two complementary rules. One is that the ciborium is always veiled, and the other is that the ciborium is veiled when it has the Blessed Sacrament in it. So there's two rules. And it's always got a veil on it. Like the monstrance always has a veil on it, except for when it has the Blessed Sacrament in it. So that's the exact opposite with the monstrance. And the monstrance, you put the monstrance on the corporal before you remove the veil. So you don't take the veil off. And so sometimes you see now the sacristan wants to take the veil off the monstrance. He said, no, that's not right. The priest takes it off only after he puts it on the corporal. But anyway, so Father Doran gave this conference on the chalice veil and explaining the importance of the chalice veil. Not the ciborium veil, not the chalice veil, the ciborium veil. The ciborium veil. The ciborium is the one that holds the Blessed Sacrament for communion.